Hey everyone, in any clinical trial, you've got the plan, and then you've got what actually happens. Today, we're diving into the subject elements domain, or SE for short. This is the absolute key to tracking a subject's real journey through a study.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get the big picture of a subject's journey. Then, we'll zoom right into the key data points that make it all tick. We're going to talk about what these elements are, how they fit into the grand scheme of the trial, and then we'll wrap it all up with why this is so critical for anyone looking at this data. Sound good? Let's go.
All right, Section 1, SC domain, tracking the subject's journey. So let's jump right in. At its heart, the SC domain is all about one thing, and one thing only: tracking that actual path.
So think about it for a second. Every clinical trial has this super detailed plan, right? The protocol. But here's the thing. Subjects are people. Life happens. They might go through treatment periods at slightly different times, or maybe even deviate from the plan altogether. So the huge question is, how in the world do we capture what really happened?
And that is exactly where the subject elements domain steps in. I mean, look at the slide. The keyword here is actually. SE isn't about the plan, it's about the reality. It's basically a logbook that records the specific parts of the trial, we call them elements, that a subject went through, and crucially, exactly when they went through them.
Okay, so on to our key variables. How does the SC domain pull this off? Well, it all boils down to a few core pieces of information, what we call variables. Let's break them down. The real power of SE is in how simple it is. It's just 3 key variables that tell the entire story. First up, you've got ECTD. This tells you what element the subject was in. Think drug of treatment or screening. Then you have SCSTDT and SCNDT. These are like the bookends. They give you the precise start and end times for that element. You put them all together and bam, you've got this super clean, powerful log of the subject's timeline. All right, let's take a little deeper into those bookends, the start and end dates, and what they're actually marking time for. So first, let's get on the same page about what an element even is. The easiest way to think about it is like a Lego brick for a clinical trial. It's a reusable, modular building block, a specific, defined period or activity. Things like drug A treatment or a washout period. These are the fundamental pieces that make up the trial's structure. This timeline right here shows how those start and end dates create this perfect, seamless record. See how the screening element kicks off on January 15th and wraps up on the 30th? Now check this out. That end date, January 30th, is the exact same start date for the next element, drug A. It's this continuity that creates a totally unambiguous log of how the subject moved through the trial. No gaps, no questions. Okay, so now that we've got the nitty-gritty of elements down, let's zoom out. We need to see how they fit into the trial's broader structure. And to do that, we have to talk about epochs. So, what's an epoch? It's just a high-level phase of the study. If elements are the individual activities or scenes in a movie, an epoch is the major act that contains them. So, for example, you could have a whole treatment epoch, and inside that you'd have several elements like drug A, then a washout, then drug B. See how it works? It's that higher-level grouping. I find this analogy super helpful. Imagine the entire planned trial design, with all its different arms and possibilities, is a big subway map. Now, the SE domain, that's the specific travel log of one single passenger. It tells you exactly which stations they visited, what time they got there, what time they left. It details their unique and actual journey through the system. Pretty cool, right? So here's how it all comes together. You've got the broad epoch, let's say treatment. Within that big chapter, a subject enters a specific element, like drug A. And the EC record? That's the final piece of evidence. It's the data that proves, yep, subject 001 was in the drug A element from January 30th to March 1st. It's what connects their actual journey right back to the study's overall design. Okay, so we've seen what SEO is, how it works, but let's get to the real bottom line. Why does any of this matter? Why is it so important? This is really the whole point. SE provides context. Think about it. A lab result comes back or an adverse event happens. SE tells you exactly what was going on with that subject at that precise moment. Were they on the study drug? Were they in a washout period? This context is absolutely fundamental for doing any kind of accurate analysis. And for complex trials like crossover studies where a subject's status is changing all the time, it's not just helpful, it's indispensable. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. The official SDTM implementation guide itself strongly recommends submitting it. Why? Because, as it says, it provides the information reviewers need to place observations in context. At the end of the day, SSE is the narrative backbone of a subject's experience in a trial. Without it, you've just got a bunch of data points floating around. With it, you actually have a story. Thanks so much for tuning in.